Molweni. Hi and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another conscious conversation with me, Miss Apani. I'm back with another personal development video, and I'm still continuing on how to raise your value. How do you increase your value? I like the saying by Jim Rohn, and he says that work on yourself than you do on your job. Work more on yourself than you do on your job. So your title, your position is always going to be the same, and you are replaceable anytime. But you have unlimited, literally no restrictions on how far you can go in terms of improving yourself. So what does it mean to work more on yourself? What does it mean to raise your value? It's upgrading yourself, improving yourself, treating yourself as a brand, treating yourself as a product. See yourself as a product and working more on developing that product, being yourself. So how do you raise, how do you increase, what is it that you need to do in order to improve yourself? So firstly, it is reading. Reading makes you knowledgeable. It's nice to engage with someone who has great insight, it's nice to engage with someone who reads a lot, because they've got a lot to say, and just listening to them as well. Secondly, reading makes you credible, and when you're engaging with someone like that, you can already rank them to saying, this is how much respect I'm going to give that particular person. Secondly, it is how you look. So the first thing is, when we see you, is how you look, how you dress. But it's not about buying expensive clothes, but it's just being neat, looking good, smelling good, and just taking care of yourself. Thirdly, so for me, these are two soft skills that I think are very important, and it is communication skills. So communication is the response that you get. Ne? Communication is the response that you get. So if you are not getting the reaction that you are looking for, it means that you have not communicated effectively. This can be with your children, it can be with your spouse, it can be with people at work, but we communicate on a daily basis. And just having the ability to listen to someone else, just having that ability just to keep quiet and let another person speak, communication is the response that you get. So it's also, what it means is that if you're not getting the reaction that you are looking for, you have to try another way of communicating with the person. Another one, which is third on my list, is fourth on my list, is emotional intelligence. Being aware of your emotion, managing your emotion, having self-control. I think it's the worst thing when every time you are angry, you make decisions based on that anger. And I mean, in business, at home, with your children, everywhere. Just you having to manage and control your emotions, and understanding that your emotions are your emotions, meaning that you are the only person who can only change the way you're looking at things, changing the way you're perceiving the situation, so that you can feel different and act differently, communicating differently with other people. You are the only person who can manage your emotions. These are your emotions, it's not other people. And I think it's learning to always stop complaining and criticizing and having some sort of blame towards other people, but managing your own emotions. When you change the way you look at things, the things that you look at change. The fifth one on my list is preparation and positioning yourself as a person. So what does that mean? It means, for example, if you are looking for in an organization, if they are going to make someone a manager, it's because that person has management skills, that person has that leadership character in them. So they don't appoint you as a manager and then you become that. You are already that. You've got that character in you. So therefore, you have to build those characters before. It's preparing yourself, as positioning yourself as that particular person. Then you start seeing changes in your life. There are other things as well that you can do in terms of treating. How do you treat yourself as a brand, or what other things can you do in terms of improving you being the product? Things like having a positive attitude. It's nice to work with someone who's always thinking about different ways of solving problems, who's got a positive way of looking at things, who doesn't complain and argue and blame this and so forth. It's nice to work with someone who's got a very great work ethic, someone who does something now, who looks for 5 different ways of doing something else before the end result. It's the most beautiful thing to do, and these are the things that you can build. So treating yourself, the brand being the product, is there's certain characters that you can do to help yourself, to improve yourself, to upgrade yourself. So those are just little things. Those are a few things that I'm mentioning in this video. But I think ultimately what I'm learning from the process of personal development and treating yourself as a brand is, at the end result, it's just wanting to have that likable character, to be someone who's more approachable. In that way, it shows a lot about yourself as a person, having that humility, and already we can rank you to saying, this is the value, this is the respect that you are going to give you, just based on that, just having that, being someone who's approachable, someone who's likable, someone who's credible, someone who's not knowledgeable, someone who's got a great work ethic, someone who's got a positive, who's always optimistic. And it's nice to be around that kind of person. So those are just one of the ways you can do to increase your value, to raise your value as a person, as a product, and reminding yourself to treat yourself as a brand. There are no restrictions, there are no limits of what you can do or what other ways of improving yourself. But I think it's just learning that work more on yourself, work more on improving yourself, work on becoming a better version of yourself, and only you and you alone can do that for you and no one else. And so in my previous video about reprogramming your subconscious mind, I thought it was very important to start in the inside before we look at things in the outside. And also another thing is, depending on the industry you're in, this is different for everyone else, you can start learning other things, like public speaking. If you're a sales rep and you're always doing presentations, there's a lot of things that you can teach yourself, improve yourself in terms of presentation skills, because you're always presenting, you're always talking to people, learning how do you conduct yourself in meetings, how do you conduct yourself around people. When you're presenting, your body language says a lot of things, but it also depends on which industry you're in, and you will look for other things in terms of how do you prepare yourself, being the expert in that particular field. And those are just my few points on how to raise your value. How do you improve yourself? How do you upgrade yourself? How do you develop yourself? It's also understanding that development and growth is a process, and be patient with yourself in terms of getting to the place and the life that you want. It also helps when you have a personal development plan, that you'll be able to know what skills do you still need to acquire in your journey. And so that's just what I wanted to share. What skills? So I think you can please let me know on the comment section, what skills have you acquired? What other things do you think are ways that one can improve themselves? What are the things that you have done in your life to improve, to upgrade yourself, and in treating yourself as a product, treating yourself as a brand? And I think at the end of the day, it's about you. Work more on yourself than you do on your job. #work on yourself. And that's what I just wanted to share in this video. So please do like, subscribe, and comment. And I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.